Hey everybody, this is Perch. How comfortable are you with something you absolutely hate being popular? Does that drive you nuts? I ask this because one of the things that I think people struggle with a little bit in comics, and I'm talking about us fans, customers, is the idea of when something actually works and we don't like it, it drives us a little crazy. And I think you could see this in a number of things, by the way. On a completely separate note, the popularity of manga drives both some fans and certainly some creators insane to the point that they're not even willing to look at what made those things popular or what drove success in those areas to copy it or to basically take it on for themselves. There's no effort that gets put in there because people hate it too much. And I'll give you an example of something that I dislike outside of comics, but it'll explain it pretty well. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Now I know Taylor Swift is who dislikes Taylor Swift? Well, Kanye West, that's who. But who's listening to Kanye West these days anyway? But I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Don't particularly like the music. Find it very mass produced. Don't particularly like. I don't know what it is. Something about Taylor Swift, the personality. I don't like her. I don't know. I just it's she's not for me. Um, Taylor Swift right now, as of this recording, Cole holds every single spot on the Billboard Top 10 songs, all of them. It is the first time in history this has ever happened that one artist just completely owns the entire chart, every song. And let's be real with each other. Not every one of those songs is a masterpiece. Yet, it speaks to the strength of Taylor Swift. It speaks to what people are interested in, asking for, clamoring for. She is a market powerhouse. I would be, if I was a musician or if I was just commenting on music, I would be out of my fucking mind by saying, well, Taylor Swift's not that big. I mean, who cares about Taylor Swift? Nothing very interesting there. Because clearly she resonates with people and she sells a lot of albums and you cannot deny that. Uh, so I'm not going to say. I mean, I can still say very easily I don't like her, but I would be a fool to deny her, sheer power in the music industry. In comics, we have a similar thing going on, and I'll give you a couple examples where people really struggle with liking it. And you've seen some of the sales analysis on this channel. One of which always makes me chuckle every time, is Jane Foster Thor. Jane Foster Thor sold the best out of Jason Aaron's Thor run, even though the Gore the God Butcher, the stuff that Aaron and Ribic did at the beginning of his run, I thought was way better. Personally, I thought it was way better. I didn't mind the mystery of Jane Foster Thor. I thought it was fine. I didn't like some of the cutesy comedy they seemed to want to do. It was almost like, nobody. I say nobody, but of course some people were. Uh, Most people picking up Thor were like, I wonder who the female Thor is. It's clearly not, Thor Odin's son. He seems perplexed by it too. We're trying to figure out who is this Thor, and it's a mystery. Let's all guess and try and figure out who it is. And there were definitely some fans. I'm not saying there weren't. There 100% were, who were like, no, this Thor is a guy. They can't give the mantle away. No, this is bullshit. No, women can't be Thor. There's definitely some of those people, but not. It paled in comparison to the people who are actually buying and picking up the comic because that run of the comic sold the best. It was successful. Again, regardless of whether I thought the humor was too cutesy and whether I thought they spent too much time wanting to pick fights with the people who. I mean, again, my complaint with Thor probably was the comics seem to want to pick fights with people who say, oh, you're not worthy of being Thor. But that group was a relatively small group of people. Why are we wasting page space to those people when the mystery of who Thor is and that kind of stuff that's the interesting part, and that's the part that most people were signing up to read. But regardless, you'll see a lot of people talk about how Thor bombed in sales, and the reality is, female Thor, Jane Foster Thor, was, I believe, and I can go back further before the Jason Aaron run, The Skredinsky run with Oliver Capil, when they relaunched that title, sold better briefly than the Jane Foster Thor, but not for the entire run, just for about the first 3 issues. And then before that, you have to go back, way back. You have to go back to Heroes Reborn before you got to the kind of numbers that Jane Foster Thor was putting up. And that is just a fact. It is a hard financial fact. And if you're one of those people who's like, well, yeah, I don't believe it because I believe that Marvel was cheating and, making people buy those comics, or they were buying them themselves to try and juice up the number. No, they were not. In fact, the overships of Thor really didn't happen. It was happening on Squirrel Girl plenty. You can definitely poke at that one as one Marvel was trying to get to succeed and putting a ton of incentive programs into doing it. But the Jane Foster Thor was not. And I feel like that's a good one to look at and go, people need to be self-confident, and that is what it is, to go, I didn't like this comic, but I'm not going to deny that it was a financial success. That simple. That's a hard thing for people to say. It sticks in their mouth. They don't want to admit it. But like the Taylor Swift example, it's very easy for me to say, I don't like Taylor Swift's music, but I cannot deny that she is a financial success. I can't. What's weirder about comics is that people really want to, hold their ground on that one, when surrounding it, you've got the Unsellable Wasp book that was coming out. You had, various iterations of, World of Wakanda that never went anywhere. You had the Mockingbird by Chelsea Kane that was an absolute, sales, shit bomb is the best way to put it. You have plenty of comics. If you're going to argue that kind of, some of the, I don't know, for lack of a better word, progressive kind of feminist politics stuff usually doesn't sell well. But Thor, the Jane Foster Thor, is the absolute worst example of that. That would be that's the, for lack of a better word, the exception that proves the rule, or whatever you want to say. That one, if you're trying to make the case on that one, you sound like an idiot, and it absolutely does not correspond to real numbers. But my original question is, how do you struggle with admitting things you don't like are popular? And if so, why? What does it matter? You could go on, by the way, on YouTube right now, and you could get woke Thor sales bomb. I'm not talking about that movie that was just unfunny and shitty. My wife, Mrs. Perch, she watched Thor. We watched Thor with the kids, and my wife weeks later has come around and talked about how shitty that Thor movie was out of nowhere. We're just driving around, we're not doing anything, and then she'll out of nowhere she'll be like, God, that Thor movie is, it's like it's under her skin. Like that Thor movie is awful. That was like an awful movie. It's funny, but the comic was successful. What other things are like that? What are things that everyone else found great, popular, successful, and you grit your teeth, but damn it, it was popular, can't deny it. What other things are like that for you, that you hate it, but it was popular? So you hate the fact that it was popular. You hate the fact that you have to admit, damn it, that thing that I hate sold. What are other things out there? What things are like that for you? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.